Good evening, everyone. I hope you are well once again, and welcome to those who have just joined us. We're just checking in on greetings, and it seems like Gauteng and other provinces right now are just giving London. It's been so gloomy, and we are looking forward to the sunshine again, but we move as we go. I hope you guys are well on your side as well. Um, so yeah, looking at career and career guidance. Okay. So now, since this is a collab session, and of course, I have. Oh, Brianna had sunshine today. Oh, okay. Good for you. Had nothing. It was just gloomy with no sunshine. Um, we are looking at career and career guidance. And remember that whenever you look into any topic, always have senior phase in mind. One of the mistakes that were made in assignment one were people including FET, creating activities for FET. So you must always just keep it within the senior phase. That is between grade 7 and to grade 9 at all times. Okay. Before I start, I did mention that we have been talking about engagement, and of course, right now you have already submitted two assessments which contribute quite an amount towards your success in the module. There is assignment one and assignment two, which is, of course, in progress as far as marking is concerned. So my question is, when you looked at this learning unit, what came to mind, particularly on the theories and the strategies? What did you pick up? No problem, Brianna. Thank you. We'll wait for you to. You can type something on the chat. What came to mind, guys, when you looked at this unit? To the theories and the strategies. Any contributions from anyone? Okay, Brianna, thank you. Let's read from the chat. Career guidance needs a lot of discussion based on learning and reflective activities, which is activities. Every student has a different idea for their career. Some don't know what they want or to do. Okay. All right, Princess, no problem. You can type on the chat. Anyone else? Thank you for your contribution, Brianna. Much appreciated. Career and career guidance, the theories and the strategies and the overall unit. Melissa, thank you. I'll be with you just now. I just want to read the chat or response from Chantal. Chantal says that to her, her careers and career guidance enhances critical thinking and further thinking as to what they want to do in the future. Chantal, if you can emphasize, what do you mean by career guidance enhances critical thinking? How does it do that? You can unmute if you want to, or you can just respond to the chat. Yes, Melissa. Kiara will be with you just now.
With regards to that question in terms of career and career guidance, just recently with SFTL, I use career and career guidance as one of my topics. And I think what's really important and imperative in grade 9, especially, is that career choice you're going to make because you're going to be choosing your subjects. So, what
Hmm.
subjects are you going to choose that are going to affect what you're going to apply for in university? So, that's always
Okay.
going to come into play.
Okay. All right. And then anything on theories and the strategies that you'd like to add? Okay, so Chantal says she has a problem with the mic. Kiara is saying that aptitude tests are valuable for career guidance. Kristen is battling with sound, but career guidance is an important component which comes to students planning their future subjects. Absolutely, and the jobs and employability. I think what I would like us to do is now put that, now that we know what career and career guidance is, and tie it to the different theories that were recommended to you, which are four on ARC. How do you put that together? Okay, Masejo says that it encourages us as teachers to adapt to modern careers as well as instead of always focusing on traditional careers. Okay, all right. Let us move to this. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Any words that come to mind with that picture. You can type on the chat box. You can just unmute and speak.
From my perspective, looking at the picture, it's strategizing, working as a team, strategizing, working out a plan
On a plan. Okay, so
and
who's
a plan.
strategizing? Who's working on a plan? What would you say they are strategizing on? The reason why I'm asking these probing questions, Melissa, is because remember, I always emphasize that you must always have the senior phase as a context in the background. So you
Yeah.
must always have hypothetical
Oh,
scenarios to say that learners could be, discussing
oh,
one, two, three, and the other. And this is what I need you guys to really reinforce and
hmm,
work on and develop on, particularly because the summative assignment is coming.
yeah. So
And
then,
what, okay,
I'm
Melissa,
so sorry.
yes?
I'm so sorry, ma'am.
No
So then,
problem.
what I say that then the grade 8, grade 9 learners are interacting in a strategy of small group work or group play or and discussion, implementing a plan on how to make the correct career choice or how to streamline what career choice they want to make.
Okay, okay. Hi, Janelle. Good evening. Yes.
Evening, ma'am. For me, this picture, what I take from it is when I was in I think grade 9 or 10, I went to the school counselor and I did a whole career test and we did like a personality thing to see what would best suit me. So that's
Mm-hmm,
sort of what I took from this. Sort of like maybe the lady with the pen is like showing the student different
mm-hmm.
career, what's the word? Themes, for lack of a better word, like sectors. And then they're
Okay,
planning like maybe what looks best, what interests you the most or something like that. That's what I'm
okay.
sort of getting from it.
All right. Okay, so let us put more context there. So, of course, you made an example of yourself. Which grade were you in? I'm assuming grade 9, or was it earlier?
About grade 9, yes.
Just about in grade 9. Okay. All right. Perfect. And then the counselor, who would you describe as the counselor in the school? Are they there like full time at the school, or do they come on particular days, or was it the life orientation teacher? So remember, I want us to envision whenever you answering questions, always see yourself in the classroom and the school context and the learners and everything. But Janelle, thank you for sharing your experience with us. In the chat, we have Kiara. Students may be considering their career choices based on the rewards of the career, if the career aligns with their own personal goals. Okay. Chantal says, look, when you are in grade nine, you need to make subject choices for future careers or studies. If you make the wrong subject choice in grade nine, it might you affect your future studies. Okay. Kiara, if you can just expand on that last aspect there, own personal goals, aligns with their own personal goals. Why did you say that? Yes, Brianna. I'm not getting sound from you. I don't know if your mic is fixed yet or your sound. No, we can't hear you. Or is it just me? Sorry about that. I think you can just leave the meeting and then come back and then let's see if the sound gets better. Okay. We do have Regina who says that, but isn't that why we did the aptitude tests in grade nine to ensure that we align our career goals with the aptitude test? Okay. It's okay. All right. Okay. Anyone else? Let's go for it. Yes, Brianna, let's see now. Let's see if we can hear you. Brianna, I think we did get some sound from you. Can you just try again? Okay, yes, Princess. Masako, did you want to say something? Oh, your mics are not working tonight. Okay, but the chat box is very much active and live, so you will have to just type that long paragraph for me, please, your response. What else can we say? There's a picture right there. We see different elements, aspects, speak to me, the evidence, the theories, and the strategies. Yes, Alyssa.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, and I hope everyone else can too.
I hope so too. But it's not really, I don't think I'm going to add anything, but just like my experience with aptitude tests. I don't know if they always work because like when I was in school, I got all these results to say like I should be a lawyer and I should go into marine biology and I had all these wonderful careers and none of them were what I wanted to do. So I see the value in it, but I don't think it's always practical.
Okay, so let us just stay on that. If please don't unmute, Alyssa. Let's just stay on that, right? I would like to just ask
Okay.
some questions. So, for example, you said essentially in the sciences, a lawyer. What degree did you do?
So I have an undergrad in English and psychology.
English in psychology, so BA in humanities.
Yes.
Okay, so it was science, it was lawyer. What else would you remember or if you want to share with us?
Like the person I went to also said buying and selling like fashion, and
Mm-hmm.
I do not see myself anywhere near anything in fashion. And marine biology.
Okay, so from what I pick up, and it's true to say that you know what these are the things that you did not want to do. But when you think of the characteristics of a lawyer, a marine biologist, and a fashion, if it was a fashion designer or some sort of occupation in the fashion industry, does it not speak closely or similarly to your undergraduate degree? You pursued psychology. What does it mean? Essentially, in itself, if we were to take a marine biology, there is interest um, in knowledge, in getting to know. Because remember, if you are going to be a psychologist, for example, you must always upkeep, with the trends and, always looking into what is evolving in the psychology, research and the likes of
Yes.
that. And when you look at the lawyer component of it, it means reading.
Mm.
Psychologists read, they write, and they do a lot of research and investigation in that regard. And the fashion aspect could be perhaps the way you present yourself to the client or your patient who would be coming to you. Not necessarily how you dress, but your mannerisms. Are you approachable?
Uh,
How we
as,
see people, in, I don't know if in university you've seen students who are in the arts and the crafts and how they dress, we are always like mesmerized to say, oh my gosh, you have so much on you. But it's very, I want to come to you and ask questions. So obviously when we are young it doesn't make sense, but I think if by us using your example, Alyssa, we can then, if we obviously get the results from these learners, who have taken the test, we can obviously make references to say, yes, it says lawyer characteristics because yes, you want to do IT, but in IT, you must still read up, and it's a lot of reading and compiling of documents.
Thank you, ma'am. I never really thought of it that way, and I wish they explained it to me like that when I was doing my test.
So do you see where we're going, guys? Obviously, remember I said that there are these theories and strategies. And the reason why I am, and thank you so much, guys, for your contributions. And this is the reason why that I love for these collab to be as collaborative as possible because they really speak to how you formulate your answers. Because now you are just left with the summative assignment, which really is a determining factor in your success of the module. And of course, I want to see my students, get through the module, through it. All of you guys, all of you guys. But the thing that you guys struggle with is context, is context. Remember now, you are not, yes, you are doing a qualification, a course, a program, but you must always be in the classroom when you answer questions. Okay, you are not answering a question for this big module at the university. You are literally in a didactics module that is speaking to now saying, giving you tools or, advice, recommendations, suggestions in what you can do in your classroom. So, do you see now how a simple aptitude test can make a learner, if I can use you, Alyssa, think that now that's not me and pursue something else. If you did not pursue, for example, Alyssa, okay, what was your second option if it was not psychology? What are your other options?
If I didn't study psychology, I was going to study education, so a B.Ed.
Okay, so you are still within the frame of the
Yeah, but that
aptitude
wasn't on my
test.
aptitude test. That was like my personal options. My aptitude test was first a lawyer and then a marine biologist.
The reason why I say that there's still a correlation because when you're an educator, you are still doing that research, you know as a
Yes, ma'am.
lawyer you are still, you have to prepare and deliver. So the characteristics of a lawyer and a marine biologist and that fashion aspect still speak to you in becoming, if you wanted to be a teacher at the time. So there is a correlation. Yes, Brianna. Oh, we can't hear you. Does anyone want to add to the analogy? Yes, Brianna, you can just unmute if you want to. We are still struggling to get sound from you. Okay. Apologies for that. Do you want to just leave the meeting again and then rejoin? Okay, let's try that. Okay. Kristen, added to add to what Alyssa is saying, one of the things we also need to think about is employability, which can sometimes contradict what the test may be outlining. Like the test may be suggesting the role of a psychologist, but the field does not currently allow for much growth. But then, Kristen, does that mean that the aptitude test we should do away with it because of the employability factors? As it stands, if I can use psychology as an example, they are also in a process of looking into AI to say instead of people coming and seeing us, I, as a therapist, would rather develop an app that will have obviously respond to probing questions and help the people. And this is because remember, to avoid having travel time and the likes of that, but there is engagement because the AI is growing so much that every single field is looking into alternatives. Yes, there's still a challenge as well in employability, in education, in really almost any space there is that. Okay, so Kirsten is responding and saying that I think that there's one of the challenges because even with that, it helps for learners to try and think in line with similar fields, and the transfer the skills across definitely. Chantal says, I think that careers is also linked to personality and your passion. And perhaps when you are in the classroom and you get to the stage of careers and career guidance, it's important to, what I used to do in my classroom is to have current stats to say, look, certain fields are overpopulated, but it doesn't mean that you should not pursue a career in this. And we would encourage them to explore going abroad and the likes of that. Yes, Melissa.
Yes, so going on with what you said, ma'am, like with AI, everything is now becoming outdated. These are outdated measures, especially in a changing and flux job market. And
Yeah.
to add to that, you can't use just mere aptitude tests because it's that risk of being stereotyped or labeled to be in a certain category only. And not only that,
Mhm.
mean we don't want to oversimplify the learner's potential in terms of them saying, okay, you can only fit into this mold because you only do well in LO and humanities
Mhm.
studies. They might not do well in maths, but they might excel maybe once they've graduated from high school and actually become like a mathematician whiz. I mean, so I think these aptitude tests do need to be done away with because it does add further frustration and confusion to a learner, in my
I
opinion.
I I I I agree with you to an extent, but I disagree
Mhm.
to the your statement of saying we should do away. I think, remember now, the aptitude test is done by a researcher. It's accepted in the, scientific knowledge body. But then it becomes our responsibility as a teacher, for example, to break things down for Alyssa. I mean, you can't expect a grade 9 learner to think that far, to think that, oh, okay, I fell into the category of fashion because of these attributes. So it becomes our responsibility as teachers to make them understand. So I know that most schools do use supers, no, Hollards test a lot when it comes to that, and just to assist the learner, because remember, the aptitude tests are also just to give you an idea. So for me, it's better to have an idea. Yes, it may leave you confused and frustrated because you feel that I don't fall into that category, but you are getting a better understanding. And if you then pursue the learners or persuade them rather to just do further research and say, okay, you fell into this category, look into the characteristics that make this person. Yes, Alyssa.
Ma'am, I have two questions.
Yeah.
Not questions, but just statements. I didn't do an aptitude test in school, so I went to someone to do an aptitude test.
Yeah.
And going on what everyone else was saying, like it really was frustrating because when I got those results, I was like, well, that's the end of my career. I'm never gonna amount to anything because I don't want to do
Mm-hmm.
any of those things. So
Mm-hmm.
it was really disheartening for me as like a, I don't know, 15, 16-year old. I didn't know what my future had. So I really think if aptitude tests are so important, and I do see the value of them, I think allo teachers should then be equipped and skilled enough to then relay that to a child of that age
Mm-hmm.
because I know what it was like and it's so confusing and it's like, well, where do I go from here?
Indeed. Indeed. Indeed.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
Mel?
Can
Melissa?
you guys hello?
Oh, I don't. Okay, who's speaking? Is it Brianna?
Oh, you can hear
I
me.
think it's
Hallelujah.
Brianna.
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
so
can we,
happy.
Melissa? Can we please give Brianna a chance? She's
No,
been
please go ahead,
trying.
Melissa.
Of course.
Brianna, you
I'll go
can
after
come
you.
through.
Oh, okay. So, after this very frustrating technical difficulty, I was kind of go off also what Alyssa said. I also did an external aptitude test with
Mm-hmm.
other little ones. I'm not exactly sure what they were. And basically, what they gave back was, oh, I can basically go into any field if I put my mind, to it.
Okay.
So, how are you supposed to take that, choose a grade 9 subject, and then go, okay, if I can do anything and I'm interested in so many things, where do I go
Mm-hmm.
from here?
Mm-hmm.
So, especially when I was in grade 9, I found that a lot of the people, a lot of my peers went according to their interests. And by
Mm-hmm.
the time they got to matric, it wasn't the same interest they had. And a lot of them
Sure.
regretted what subjects they took. So they ended up dropping. So I think that's the frustrating part is that, as an LO teacher, you really have to provide that guidance and give
Mm-hmm.
students
That's
constant
true.
support.
That's true. That's true. Thank you so much, Brianna. Yes, Melissa.
Now, yes, just carrying on with what Alyssa and Brianna are saying, is that maybe more emphasis needs to be placed, like what we're learning in SFTL as well as LO, is that the teacher can't be replaced, even though we got different types of education like differentiation, inquiry theory. I think what
Yeah.
needs to be maintained is that the LO teacher needs to have that additional uh, knowledge to be able to guide them. So maybe not
Indeed.
do away with the aptitude test, but we need to realign them so it adapts to our current job market. Like you said, with AI, coding, everything's done online. Companies are looking for something else. So whatever you study in university might not align with what they're looking for. So I think we need to make sure these aptitude tests are going to be constantly updated to match the current job market, especially in South Africa.
Sure, it would be hard to ensure that the aptitude tests get updated, specifically from the life orientation
Hmm.
teacher. But look, there can be obviously some petition or something sent out to say, can there be an updated version, for example? Because Brianna, I'll be with you just in a second. And the role of a life orientation teacher, as we emphasize, is that it's very, very critical. It's very critical. You can imagine a grade 9 learner who is basically still in grade 8, essentially. They're still growing. And that's why when we take Brianna's example as well, contribution, is to say by the time people get to matric, actually, physics is not my thing. You know, I'm more into consumer studies, and then they end up dropping. So it's very frustrating. And with people like Brianna who are just told that you can do anything, what does that mean? You know? But then again, what I used to encourage my students is, explore. do job shadowing. Don't wait until you get to matric, because obviously we tell them that in matric, that's when you have this whole big assignment of job shadowing and your, whatever career that you want to pursue. But it should start earlier as well, to say what are your interests, go to those places to say, okay, if I fit into 7 categories, really, encourage the students to explore those 7 categories. If they can't go there physically, there are videos on YouTube that are accessible. There are websites, of those companies, so that they can have a feel and a fit to say, oh, is this what I want to do? And what I used to encourage my students is watch the interview of the person. So, for example, if Alyssa was my student, I would say, go watch an interview of that fashion designer, the well known fashion designer, and see if that is something that speaks to you. Okay, I'll stop there for now. Brianna?
I was just thinking of a strategy that I know I would take as an LO teacher.
Okay.
Obviously, there's so many different fields that someone can go into, and we're in a position where titles can literally be made up on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't necessarily have a specific career or a specific job they want to do, but they know what field they want to go into. So from my perspective, if I've got a child coming in and going, oh, I'm interested in physics, and I know nothing about the physics career world, I suppose that's where the continuous learning for the teacher comes in. It's like, go and do your own research. Go, okay, this is kind of how you get into that career field, and then guide your learner on that. Because I
Mm-hmm.
find that a lot of LO teachers have no idea. They just go, oh no, decide what you're interested in, apply.
That is the unfortunately the truth. It really happens, and there is a big push as well, a bias, if I may say, from teachers pertaining to a particular learner to say, no, 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 Brianna, you must go into medicine, and Brianna just wants to, not even be an architect, but she just wants to be an interior designer, and it's kind of, looked down at, in the same way when you're like, no, I want to study education. People look at you like, what do you mean? Your first option must be lawyer, engineering, and then the last thing should be education. So when you pursue education as a first option, you are really frowned upon, because it's like, how could you take such a career? But then again, you know what? It becomes very different, and the likes of that. And obviously we encourage our life orientation student, I mean, teachers, to not be biased because of the learner's skills, because sometimes we tend to impose also, because we do know their potential and then we see them as civil engineers. That should not be the go-to. Right, because the biggest trend right now that we are seeing is the heightened growth in humanities, as far as students taking on those programs, every single part of humanities, and there is a downscale, if I may say, in your science fields and the likes of that. And but that's like for another day, because we're going to look at it into on our next collab. Yes, Alyssa.
Ma'am, just adding to what you said about like the increase in the humanities, um, I know like what everyone was saying about taking subjects and then dropping them, because I also had friends who did the same. But I feel like because the career guidance is not always available when you need it, you then matriculate and then it's like, well, I have to do something with my life. So the easiest thing to do for most people, and I'm speaking from experience because my brother actually has done this, and it's like, well, I'm just going to do a general BA because it's the most generic and it can then branch me
Mm-hmm.
into any field. So I feel like that's could be a contributing factor as to why the humanities faculty is so like overcrowded, is because people just do a BA and then it's like, okay, well, once I've done my BA, I'll then figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Hmm. That is true. That is true. I will get to the chats in just a second. Another thing is, I feel that the reason why learners feel or find themselves as outliers at some point is because the life orientation teacher is not reinforcing. Because the moment they move from grade 9 into grade 10, the first thing that they do is explore different careers and different things. If you've looked at the CAPS document, you will see that. And then it's a continuation into grade 11. All right. Unfortunately, sometimes I always advocate to say, look, if you get these learners in grade 10, it would be great for you to have them throughout until matric. But then some schools, do an integration, and you find that the life orientation teacher, the other one, is not as rigorous, intentional, and pursuing the projects as they are, because there are a lot of projects that still speak to career and career guidance. And this is for the learner to find themselves as an individual. So I think, we've been let down at some point because it's life orientation, it's not important. But then again, I also say to the life orientation teacher, why are you not making it important? Because it's equally important as maths and accounting and physics and the life sciences and the English and all these heavy duty subjects that we see. So it's important for the life orientation teacher to be an advocate, but and also just see the learners throughout the process. So Bibi was saying that in the chat that personally he feels that aptitude tests should not allow an individual to fully understand or fully express themselves to show the fullest, because that's how some individuals end up at dead end jobs that they end up hating and regretting in the end. Okay. Chantal says, I think schools should implement career expos and invite people in the field to have talks to invoke curiosity for learners to do further research on different types of careers. Indeed. And you see, I love what you are probing, right? Like for Chantal, that would mean the life orientation teacher is having conversations with the principal to say, on this day, I have, I would like to have an expo. That means that now you are sourcing out different, obviously that doctor, probably down the road, an engineer that you found, someone in every field as much as possible, and have a whole exhibition taking place in the school hall, and learners asking questions, because a lot of life orientation teachers do that. I used to do that. So and it works pretty well. So, Bibi, you are correct as well, but I disagree to an extent that they shouldn't allow an individual to get to know themselves better, because as people, we constantly find ourselves. What are my interests? And the more you grow and the more your prefrontal cortex develops, the more your interest, and you change and you want to know, where do I fall in? So they also help in that instance to say, you know what, you have adjusted, you are more on this end, and to that. It's just that now how you, and as an individual, you're taking it. Obviously, if you are a little bit older, it's a bit easier to do the research, but for kids as well, it's very important. And of course, people end up in university and taking up programs that they don't like. And if you are brave enough, you drop out and you move on to the next one. But some just rather stick to it. And that's when, of course, BB, we do have people who end up just hating their jobs because this is not what I want, and I'm 45 years old. Why would I take up a new degree? You know? Uh, Princess, you had something to say? Masara?
Hello, audible now?
Yes, you're audible. Yes, we can
Hello.
hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I was saying another way to also introduce learners to different careers would be inviting parents maybe to school during assembly so that they can talk about the different career fields they are in, and the learners are able to understand better instead of just the LO teacher saying, we have psychology as a career and these are the things you're expected to do. So get an actual parent who can come as a psychologist or as a radiologist or whatever, and then talk to the learners during assembly.
Oh, that's a great idea as well. That's really great. And the people that you're mentioning as parents in those fields, and having the parents of the learners in parents evening or whatever the case may be, to be there to speak, so that the parents as well, so that there's that relatability. That's a really great idea, Maseko. Yes. I can't see whose hand is up.
Uh,
Lubani.
oh yes, it's my hand. I think just adding on to what we're saying now, which is actually really good. I'm from Limpopo, Venda in Kayando,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually started that initiative that we are now going to schools, wherein we are having more conversations with teachers, training them on um, education around career guidance, subject choices, especially also how to empower learners that are struggling at school. You know, the ones that are just passing
Mm-hmm.
on the bare minimum, that are not necessarily able to go to universities, and then they just end up there with, you know, more conversations coming to school saying that be a lawyer, be a doctor, be this, but then what about
Mm-hmm.
school of skills and all these other things? So I think like those conversations are also helping, and it's also so good also to see that also teachers don't really understand career development. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
always one streamed on you know what, I think because you are in this class, like you were saying, you're getting 90s, go do this. And a few years later those learners come back saying that, you know, I don't really like being an HR scientist or being a doctor, I want to do marketing, I want to do this, you know. So I think even in when we go in to be LO teachers, let us always just continue to just spread the word, because sometimes we think learners know and some teachers know, and in so many cases, people don't really know as much as we think we do. So I think continuous exposure and talking about it will really assist us in enabling every child to have access to career guidance and subject choices education.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I agree with you absolutely. And that's where the emphasis of guidance is. So if we now bring it back into the content knowledge in this learning unit with the theories such as Super and Holland and what is this? The cognitive processing model, and I just forgot the last one. So now the question is, how will you be able to apply these theories? How are you going to be applying these theories? If you just take what we discussed and the context in which we put in the school, we can say Super's theory can work, or rather can be integrated in such a manner to assist in one, two, three, and the other. Because the most important thing now is being able to apply. So these slides will be, of course, uploaded on the lecturer's resources. I think I didn't upload the previous ones. Apologies for that. I have, and I'll put it on a discussion board as well. All right. It's a task. It's not for marks, but again, remember, I want to reinforce that writing, as far as putting things into context in that senior phase, whether you are looking into grade 7, grade 8, or grade 9, in understanding your learners. And there are questions that I have. Okay, let me just go to the activity. So, okay, let me just show you. So essentially, the learning outcomes was that by the end of the lesson or the collab, we should be able to, you know, identify different types of career development theories. be able to describe the main six development theories. Yes, on Collab, I mean on ARC, sorry, there is four that have been uploaded. Okay, but then there are what is called the seven, actually the seven uh, big career guidance theories, that are up there and the likes of that, but they are very still very much applicable as well. But it doesn't mean that you do away with the ones that are on arc, and it doesn't mean that you do away with the ones that are on this presentation, because they still do have the two Hollands and Supers is part of the big seven. So it's just I added that so that you can just get more streamlining, see the differences, the similarities between the theories, so that when you have tasks that you need to answer, you look into that. Please take a note of this. What I want you to do is, when you look at these theories, look at the limitations as well as the highlights. Basically, the pros and cons, or disadvantages and advantages. I don't want to say disadvantages and advantages. Rather, I want to use the limitations. What is the limitation of this theory? What is the highlight of this theory? Okay, and then discuss the appropriate theory to apply for individual career choice, and discuss the appropriate theory to apply for individual career development. So these are the learning outcomes, and they will be assessed in the activity that I created at the end, and I will put it on ARC. I do, of course, encourage you, like I said, to do it. It's not for marks in any form, but I will come in and give feedback, because remember, like I said, I want you guys to work on the application. Lubani, is that a legacy hand or is it a new hand?
It's a legacy hand. So
Okay, thank you. No problem. So essentially, we were just going to introduce what is a theory, and if you have looked at your the different types of theories, these two you would know who the theorists are. That there is you, and there is a career, and then this part as well. The realist. Are you realistic? Are you the doer? Are you the conventional? Are you the organizer? But what happens when you are all of these? How then do you choose and streamline which career do I fall into? Because it's possible for you to align, into percentages and the likes of that. Chantal, ma'am, can you please work on it after deadlines of the formative assessments? It's quite hectic at this moment. No, of course, definitely, definitely. But what I would like is for it to be done before your summative assignment gets submitted. Okay, I will put a deadline. It will be later. I know you're overwhelmed. That's why I'm saying that it's just for, as each person submits, I will work on it. Okay. It's really not for marks. Okay. It's a take-home exam, Brianna. The form of the summative. It's a take-home exam, similar fashion as your formative assignments. We give it to you. You have those days, and then you submit. Okay. The dates will be given in due course. It's an exam, so we can't give you a date yet. Okay. All right. So a theory, what is a theory? A theory is something that presents a systematic way of understanding events or a situation. It's a theory, and because it's applicable, it's reliable, it's been tested, it's been investigated, and hence the acceptance. But each and every theory always has its limitations and its highlights, okay? So what makes a good theory? It's basically the practicality of it. It provides a framework for understanding complex phenomena. Like it is a complex phenomena trying to fit or understand which careers do I fall under, or what is my personal trait, and what if I don't feel like I am the realistic one, or I am the doer in this instance, because you are so, introverted. And so it's just those questions of saying that, what are the limitations? Am I really? And you may find that if you, pursue certain things, that trait really does come out. Okay, so we have a few minutes left. Let me get to the theories. Okay, please tell me if you can see them. All right. So on ARC, you have Holland's theory, you have Super's theory, you have the career strategy, and then you have the cognitive information processing model. All right. That are put there as far as you being able to answer those questions with strategies and career guidance. And then there are the big seven career theories that are out there: the trait and factor approach, Holland's, the development theories, learning cognitive theories, theories of embedded careers, the psychodynamic approaches, and the neuro work adjustment theory. So they are all in this presentation, and you will just have a look at them. So I really just summarized everything, and it's just a matter of you being able to read. So this is a discussion that I will put up on ARC to just ask you, how does a theory help you do your work? All right. Why application of theories is important for us to choose our careers. So you are not answering these questions for learners. You are answering them as yourself. So it's a discussion forum, and it would be great just to see the different perspectives, differences, if they may be, and the similarities as well. So obviously they explain how career choice development develop young children in among young people in Gottfriedsen's theory. So once you read up on the few points that I've put up in the slides, you will be able to answer that. Because remember, we are looking into these young people. They are young in grade 7, and yes, they move into high school grade 8 and 9, but doesn't mean that they are fully fledged adults yet. They are still developing. So just interrogate these theories and look into them. And then a class activity there. Write 100 words to report what your personal theory of career development from the perspective of examining and explaining your own life. So one way you can approach this is using Alyssa's example, right? But then what is your personal theory? So there needs to be characteristics or aspect within your theory that explain how career development or guidance should be looked at. Okay. And then lastly, the other activity is to just create a chart or a table on each theory you have studied in this lesson. And what I would like to see is the main ideas from each theory, the key characteristics, and the problems with the theory from your perspectives. Like, so if we take BB's comment, for example, to say we should just do away with aptitude test. Why? you know so there's no right or wrong answer. We are just, we want to just see, how are you developing and the likes of that. So a timeline will be just spread, because I know that you are overwhelmed. But if you were to do these activities, I would be able to also give you better feedback on your writing, like I said, in preparation for your summative. Okay. Any questions so far? All good? Okay, thank you, Kirsten. Okay. But does it make sense? Is there any confusion whatsoever? Do you see the correlation between ARC and our collab sessions? Okay. Thanks for that, Brianna. Okay, so I really enjoyed this collab session, and this is what I meant by in engagement. It's really amazing to just hear your experiences and sharing them, and us having fruitful discussions and really interrogating our difference in opinions and the reasons why. Because these, like I said, are very important in reinforcing your knowledge in how to apply all of these different career guidance, and how your role as a life orientation teacher becomes important. So if there is nothing from you guys, I will release you, and thank you again for attending. See you in the next upcoming collab session, guys. Good
Thank you.
night.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi.
Ma'am, if I could just ask you something quickly, if
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yes, you can.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear your response. I saw your